How's that for obeying the rules?
Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, why does Kentucky Utilities not bury all of its power lines? Experts weigh in on the pros and cons of that method.
And 6 people are dead after a gunman opened fire at a German Jehovah's Witness center.
Plus, clouds are here, but showers continue to work out. For now, the breakdown on when they can move back in coming up as Mountain News at 5:30 starts now.
Dedicated to Southern and Eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley.
And I'm Olivia Calfee. According to Kentucky Utilities, last Friday's storm knocked out power to about 380,000 of its customers. A week later, some residents are still in the dark.
So why doesn't KU bury all of its lines, making the storm impact on power lines much smaller? Samantha Valentino and photojournalist Darnell Crenshaw asked KU that question, and you might be surprised with the answers.
It's just not cost effective.
KU spokesperson Daniel Lowry says the electric company conducted a study about burying lines after the 2009 ice storm. It concluded
The costs roughly for our distribution lines are about $1 million a mile.
transmission lines would cost $10 to $15 million. Remember, these are '09 dollars. To bury everything.
At that time, it was about $64 billion.
Lowry says some of the costs to bury the lines would come from digging up roads and sidewalks. On top of that, the existing infrastructure would have to be taken down from the utility poles, and it would have to invest in new equipment to go underground. He says those costs would dramatically increase rates.
We're not talking double. We're talking higher than that. We're talking much higher.
Well, honestly, now they can't even explain the extra charges. So, of course, I understand they would say that, they're going to charge extra money.
Jessica Wofford lives in Lexington's Liberty Heights neighborhood. It sits between Liberty Road and Henry Clay Boulevard. She says last Friday's storms blew down a lot of older trees in backyards, damaging power lines, knocking out the lights.
People only got power back about 2 days ago.
She believes underground electric is the best way to avoid a power outage.
It'd be more impossible to go around and cut down all, every single tree limb that's hanging versus burying the lines.
Wofford understands getting power from below would be a humongous project to complete, but she believes in the long run, it would be worth the investment.
I do understand where they're coming from, and I know it would cost a lot of money and be time consuming, but like I said, we hope that there is a better solution.
In Lexington, Samantha Valentino.
Lowry says underground lines have issues as well, and fixing those problems are much more difficult to resolve because utility crews would have to dig up sidewalks, streets, and yards just to get to the line.
House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries, Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi, and others held a news conference in advance of Equal Pay Day today. Organizers say the goal was to discuss the discrepancies still existing in equal pay for women in the United States. Equal Pay Day in 2023 is on March 14th. Each year in the United States, the date symbolizes how far into the year the average median woman must work in order to have earned what the average median man had earned the entire previous year.
On Tuesday, the average American woman will finally catch up to her male colleagues' 2022 income. And here's what that means at the kitchen table. AAPI women are making 80 cents on the dollar. Black women are taking home 64 cents on the dollar. Moms are making 62 cents, and Latina women are making 54 cents.
Politicians are working to get a Paycheck Fairness Act to President Joe Biden. Yesterday, Florida Representative Lois Frankel sponsored a concurrent resolution recognizing the significance of equal pay and the disparity between wages paid to men and women in the U.S. House of Representatives.
Trying to see a few peaks of sunshine out there from our studio camera here at WYMT, but the cloud cover making it difficult out there. Same thing from Buffalo Mountain. The overcast sticking tough as we head into much of the region this evening. We will continue to see most of the shower activity onto our east. Nothing we have to worry about in terms of rain tonight, but that changes as we head a little bit later into the weekend. We're dry tomorrow, really tonight into tomorrow, but as we head into tomorrow night, that's when things start to change. It's been a chilly day. We're already at 39 in Jackson, low 40s region-wide, a few mid-40s as you head close to the Tennessee and Virginia borders where they've seen just a peak of sunshine today. You see this green color, that's temperatures closer to 50 and 60 where they saw some of that sunshine across southwest Virginia today. It's going to be a chilly one out there tonight, though. Right around freezing for many in the Cumberland Valley, same thing in the Kentucky River Valley, where some folks may get a couple of degrees above freezing, and same thing as you head into the Big Sandy, a little bit cooler, upper 20s out there. Details, though, on when some more rain and perhaps even some mix or snow move in a few minutes, guys.
Thank you, Evan. There are several signs that Donald Trump could soon be charged with a crime.
The former president lashed out again last night at prosecutors in New York.
They are investigating a reported hush money payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels and whether it was classified as a legal expense during his 2016 presidential campaign. CBS's Ed O'Keefe has the details from Washington.
The Manhattan District Attorney may be closing in on Donald Trump, marking what could be the first time a former American president is charged with a crime. As first reported by the New York Times, Trump has been given the option to testify as soon as next week before the grand jury. It's investigating business records involving a $130,000 payment made to adult film star Stormy Daniels just days before the 2016 election. Daniels has claimed she had an affair with Trump, something he denies. The offer to testify likely means criminal charges could be on the way because New York state law requires potential defendants be given that option. Trump is likely to decline the offer. Since January, several people close to the former president have met with Manhattan prosecutors, including his former senior counselor Kellyanne Conway, former communications director Hope Hicks, and his former attorney Michael Cohen, who is at the center of the alleged payments to Daniels. And this may not be the only legal challenge Trump faces. A Georgia grand jury recently recommended several indictments, according to the foreperson, as prosecutors there consider charges in the possible interference in the 2020 election. And of course, the Justice Department has ongoing federal investigations as well. Trump has said all three probes are politically motivated, and he denies wrongdoing, telling reporters last week that even if he's indicted, he plans to continue his run for president. Ed O'Keefe, CBS News, Washington.
Key pieces will be allowed as evidence in E. Jean Carroll's defamation case against former President Donald Trump. She's a former magazine columnist suing Trump for defamation after he denied raping her in the mid-1990s. Among the evidence the judge said Friday he will allow is the Access Hollywood tape that garnered the national spotlight when Trump bragged to host Billy Bush about groping women. The former president's legal team had tried to keep the Access Hollywood tape out of evidence. The trial is scheduled to begin April 25th.
Authorities in Mexico have arrested 5 additional suspects in connection to the kidnappings of 4 Americans in Matamoros. It comes after the Gulf Cartel issued a letter apologizing for the incident, which left 2 of the victims dead and 1 shot in the leg 3 times. The letter is believed to be authentic. Even before it was issued, police thought the crime was likely carried out by a Mexican cartel who mistook the Americans for drug smugglers. The cartel said it would hand over to authorities 5 of its members who were involved in the kidnapping and murders. Authorities say a gunman killed 6 people in a rampage at a Jehovah's Witness center in Hamburg, Germany's 2nd largest city.
As police work to determine a motive, they say the suspected shooter died by suicide during the attack.
CBS's Tina Kraus has the latest.
Forensic investigators collected evidence at the scene the morning after a gunman opened fire at his former Jehovah's Witnesses congregation in Hamburg. Authorities are still searching for a motive in the attack that left 6 people dead before the gunman apparently took his own life. A woman who was 28 weeks pregnant lost her unborn baby. She was among 8 wounded in the rampage that shocked Germany, where mass shootings are rare. Officers reached the prayer hall as the attack was unfolding. This man, who took video of the scene with his phone, says he heard at least 24 gunshots before a long pause and then one more. A police unit specially trained to deal with rampages and terror attacks were among the first on the scene. Officials said they likely prevented more casualties. Authorities say the suspected gunman was a 35-year-old German national identified only as Philip F., in accordance with rules for naming suspects. Police said he had left the congregation voluntarily, but apparently not on good terms about a year and a half ago. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
Police said there was no indication of a terrorist motive in the attack. They say the suspected gunman had a weapons license and legally owned a semi-automatic pistol. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, could a strong job market report mean higher interest rates?
And keeping it cool as we head into tonight and tomorrow, when we could see showers come back as well. Coming up after this.
WYMT News app offers alerts on breaking stories.